So hello guys and welcome to today's webinar. Today's webinar will be about tips, tricks and less well-known Astera app features. So you might know some of them what we are going through, and some of them I surely think that you do not know. That's also why we are doing this webinar. I'm Jesper, I'm from Astera, in case you haven't met me before or seen me before here in the webinars. If you do have any questions along as we go, simply just fire them away here on the right side in the chat. I will also answer them. I also have my colleague Michael here in front of me. He will read it up and I will simply just answer it. So in case you do have anything during the webinar, I would rather want that we interact and also clear everything out on the road as we go just here. So guys, I hope you are well and I hope you are ready to spend the next 60 minutes here with me. The first feature what we will go through is actually through the main menu. You will also see the app screen here on the right side now. So the three lines up in the right side or in the top right corner, when we open that one, just closing the tabs not to confuse you more, we will now go down here to app settings. App settings, just up in the top you will see keep screen on. So why can this be important? So if you have a production, you don't want the app to go out and then turn it on afterwards again. The thing is, if the app or the tablet goes in standby mode, it also deactivates the Bluetooth. So in case you open up the tablet or your smartphone once again, it will have to reconnect and takes a few seconds actually to turn on and get the connection to the Astera box, which I have just here in front of me. So in case you want the app just to be on all time, simply just keep screen on. You also see it right here. I like to have it on anyways. We also just want to make sure that it doesn't go into standby mode once we work with it right here. So this is a thing, just keep it in mind in case you do need it. So staying here in the app settings, also down here below we see, highlighted now, blue is the RF regions. RF regions, when opening this, have some different radio frequency areas. So in case you travel a lot, maybe send your lights overseas or abroad, then this can be very necessary also to for legal reasons. Just keep in mind, do not change it if you are in US, don't change it to Europe, it actually is illegal, so just keep it to the area you are actually in. One thing you have to keep in mind whenever changing the region, you will also have to repair the lights to the app. So in case you do have to send lights abroad, it's very important that in case you really change it, then you have to repair the lights to the app once again. We do not need to do it. I'm here in Europe, so we do not need to change this just now. Perfect. So, talking about battery lights and also knowing how long they are running is of course very important. In case you were standing with another battery light or in battery lights in general, can be that you wanted to run for 5 hours and think, oh, maybe we dim it to 30% brightness, then it might run for 5 hours. Being here in the app and having the lights connected already to the app makes it pretty easy for us when we use the Astera app. Going back into the main menu, you will see up at the very top the minimum runtime. Here we can simply just set the hours we want the lights to run. I just want to keep the brightness quite low because of course we want to see the colors once we do the webinar here. We can set it to 20 hours. We can surely also set it to 8 hours in case we want them to run for 8 hours. Also just keep in mind this is only valid for from 100% charged battery. So in case you do have 50%, then they do not run for 8 hours. Just keep in mind it's 100% charged battery, guys. So here we can do it up to 20 hours. If you should be, or unfortunately come to a gig with 50% charged lights, then we have to calculate it a bit different. So let me take the easiest example what I can come up with. You have your lights, maybe forgot to charge them, maybe you didn't have the time to charge the lights. you come to the gig with 50% charged lights. You want the lights to run for, let's say, 10 hours. Then we would actually have to put the runtime here or set the runtime to 20 hours. So you can calculate it yourself in case you come out with 70%, 60%, and so on. So the minimum runtime here only refers to 100% charged light. Good. Talking here also, before we just move on, the little remote control, pretty much everybody have seen it until now, I believe. We have the 3 suns just down here in the bottom. Some might think they refer to brightness, so maybe the smallest one would be 50%, 75%, and 100% brightness. These 3 suns actually refers to the runtime, what we also see here in the app. So the smallest one is actually 12 hours runtime. The middle one is then 8 hours runtime, and then the big sun will be 5 hours runtime. Just in case you are running around and want them to be maximum brightness, then you know that they are set to 5 hours runtime. Keep it in mind, I just wanted to take it with up right here. Talking about another thing which is also pretty big when you talk about controlling the Astera lights with the Astera app. Once you have it connected with the Astera box right here, it actually sends feedback back to the app. This is something we call TalkBack Plus. So we can of course monitor the battery state, we can diagnose the lights, we can do DMX setup from the very beginning. In case you have the lights already hanging in the ceiling, we can simply just run around with our tablet, set up with all the DMX settings as we like or as we want to. So this is where the TalkBack Plus comes in handy. Another important thing is actually the sort and filter. Sort and filter you will see up in the right corner, which is also highlighted just now. This gives us the possibility to sort by DMX addresses, battery state, we can sort by lamp type here as well, and also by input select. We can also sort by the groups we already have created the lights or added the lights to. Let's say you have a light or you have all the lights you need to change them in between a production. Then we can sort by the battery state, simply just click it here so it gets blue and confirm by the OK button. So the one with the lowest battery state will now be listed on top. Then we know, okay, this is the one with the lowest battery. And now we also are aware, once we use the bulb here on the right side, now we know this is the one we need to switch out with a fully charged light. So here also, if you do work with a lot of DMX, I think this can be very helpful, especially the DMX. Then it will list the lights with DMX address number 1 from the top and just down one by one. Just to create a good overview and also to highlight and see, okay, this is the one with the DMX address, for example, 75, could be. So the TalkBack Plus here becomes in very, very handy. Setting up the lights with DMX, I will also come a bit into that later, just so we can see how that works. Good. So, I'm just tapped this wrong here. So let's stay here in the list of connected lights. We all probably know that we can click the light here and we come into the settings where we have reset lights. We can do the DMX settings just down here below. We can choose the input select. We can also put it in standby mode and so on. I don't know if you heard about it before, but I actually took it with. I think it's very handy and becomes very useful, especially if you have a lot of lights paired to the app. We can mark the icons here one by one on the left side. In case you have a lot of lights, you can also hold down one of the icons and it will simply just mark the whole list of lights. Once we do this multiple selection, the magic wand up at the right side will suddenly appear. I love this setting or this setup, guys. So if you didn't know, this will for sure help you to do a faster setup soon. Clicking the magic wand, which looks like this, highlighted just now, looks the same as we just saw here before, but we can actually do settings for all the lights at the same time. So in this case, now we can, for instance, push the standby button right here. Now they will go out and we can turn them on again. So in this case, we can simply, the magic wand works as a multiple setting tool. Just in case, I will also show you how this can become handy when setting the DMX addresses just in a few minutes. So this is the magic wand. Yes. We already talked about it. Standby mode, talking about battery lights, saving battery until the production actually starts is of course very important. We want to save the battery for the production itself. Doing something in the Astera app, there is always multiple ways to do just one thing, but once we go through this, guys, just do whatever you feel more comfortable with anyways. I will use the magic wand tool here. The first thing, or the first way to actually do the lights in standby. I already did it before, I cheated a little bit, sorry for that, but let's just push this moon with the sleeping symbols here on the right side, then we can manually choose if the lights has to go into standby mode or out of the standby mode. If they are in standby mode, we can go back on the list of connected lights, and we can actually see the icon here is also shown, so we can always have the good overview to see if the lights are actually in standby or not. If we then push the sleeping symbols right here, they will turn back on. The second way is actually through the main menu. So going back here to the 3 lines up in the right corner and going here to enter standby. This is also something you of course do manually, but now we can choose to enter standby now. So it happens instantly. And we can choose to leave standby now, of course. Simply just like that. So here you can choose manually to go into standby or out of standby. Let's say you don't have the real possibility, opportunity to be on site whenever the production starts. Then we also, with this standby function, we have the possibility to set a timer. So now we can enter standby now, for instance, and we can choose to let them turn on later. And if I move too fast, guys, just write it in the chat. I will take it a bit more slow then. Pushing here at the add, then we can make it turn on, let's say at 9:15 p.m. tonight. Hit the save button, and then the timer will be saved in the Astera box right here actually. So, what is important when you set the timer is actually to keep the Astera box turned on, and of course nearby the lights. The tablet you can surely just turn off and take with you because the timer is in the Astera box. Just something to keep in mind whenever you choose to do this. When we have them in standby mode and choose to set the timer to leave the standby later, this can also be done vice versa. So in case you want to leave the standby and want them to turn off at a specific time, we can also enter standby later by saying at, for instance, 4 p.m. AM as well. So you have all the possibilities as you want, just like this. Having them in standby mode also makes the lights lose 5% of battery each 24 hours each day. Let me just bring you an example here. You have 3 show days during a week with 2 standby days in between. You probably don't have the possibility to charge them, so we have to calculate this a little bit. 100% charged battery, 3 show days, and 2 standby days. This is how you actually want to calculate it. You remove the 2 standby days, so that's 10% in total, which leaves us with 90% battery left for our 3 show days. For each show day, we of course have the 30% battery. And if you really want to calculate this, let me just go to the runtime here. We want the lights each show day to run for 2 hours. Then we say 2 hours divided by 0.3, so the percentage we have for each day. That will leave us with 6.7 hours runtime approximately. As you can see here in the Astera app, we don't really have 6.7, so it would make sense to put it here to 7 hours runtime. Then you also have a little bit of a buffer. This is how you actually calculate it, just in case you do not have the possibility to charge them in between. Yes. Perfect. I do get the question a lot also when we are out, not possible at the moment, but to install the Astera lights. The Astera lights are not really intended to install, and I highly do not recommend it. There is ways to do it. You just have to be aware because the battery is a little bit sensitive. So just be aware and have to know how to actually treat the battery once you install it. Then it is possible to install them for 1 year without a problem. There is actually the battery. Let's say we have these ones on full brightness. Then the power from the power supply would simply be taken by the LEDs. And over time, the battery would slowly discharge. If you are not aware and do not turn off the light manually and then recharge the battery, then it would go down to deep discharge and the battery would simply be broken. So just keep an eye here, for instance, on the battery state. Okay, now it's maybe 5%. Let us turn them off overnight, charge the battery full again, and then you can have them running for approximately 3-4 weeks. Just check it. And in case you really have some plans by installing the lights, my email will be displayed at the end of the webinar. Just write me, guys. I am more than happy to assist you in case you do have a fixed installation coming soon. Good. So, talking about these fixed installations, there was some certain ways also to do this once they are fixed. Because if you do have them fixed to power, they are turned on, and you turn off the electricity when you go, then they, of course, would stay on overnight, and then they would discharge the battery because they use it. So just because you turn off the electricity, it would not make the light just go out standardly or normally. So there is some different ways. When we go here into just one of the lights, just have to hit it, then we can go into the settings. Exactly. Down in the bottom here, you will see the DMX failure as first. So whenever we have them connected to, for instance, the Astera box right here, we can maybe also have them wired. If they do lose connection, we can say that it should hold and do the same program as told. We can make it do emergency light, which just will turn into a white light. We can do blackout. Blackout, I think everybody knows. I don't need to explain this into details. And we can do a standalone. So depending on the situation, you can simply set up these settings right here. And this is, of course, available or valid or working whenever you do wireless DMX or controlling with the AsteraApp. Going down here in the bottom to AC fail, like that. So this is where it becomes very interesting whenever we install something. So if we lose the power or the electricity once we have them fixed, we can choose to ignore. So it simply just continues with the same program as running here, for example. We can do emergency light. Emergency light can be that you have a tent party, have them fixed, all the electricity suddenly goes, then they will turn into a white light. You can also do the blackout, or you can do the power off. So in case you do have them fixed, also to make sure that they maybe don't just are turned on overnight, uses all the battery, and suddenly you have some lights where the battery do not work. Then we can hit the power off button. Whenever you switch off the electricity, they will power off. Next day you come, you will turn on the electricity, and we have them back up running. Just keep in mind, guys, again, keep a little bit eye on the battery state, recharge them sometimes, but this for sure can be some very helpful settings whenever you do a fixed installation. Perfect. So we just hold and ignore these two, and we can safely move on. And again, if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to write me an email afterwards. Now we have been talking about app control, we have been talking a little bit about wireless DMX. Surely there is a lot of ways to control the Astera lights. That's why I also have here on the right side, just here, input select sheet, also so you can see it afterwards. Let me give you an example why this is very important. If we have the input select, for instance, to auto in the app, You will also see them actually changing a little bit here now. And you cannot see the app, of course. Let me just try to explain this as best and as good as I can. Let's say you have a main stage with 8 Astera lights running on wireless DMX on your lighting desk. In the entrance, you then have 8 other Astera lights controlled with the Astera app. In case you have the input select to auto, and of course we do the setup maybe a few hours before the production itself starts, then it would make sense that we turn off the lights and turn them on maybe a half an hour before the show starts. When you turn them on again, and they have been in the input select the auto, then it will start detecting input source. So now we would simply maybe repair the lights on the main stage. Since the input select has been auto, it will catch the ones in the entrance. So now you simply just control the lights in the entrance also with your lighting desk on the main stage, which was not the plan. So can we go one screen just ahead here? I just want to show the app screen. Thank you. Then we can open here the input select, and then we can choose, for instance, the app. We can also choose the CRMX, which is the wireless DMX, or the XLR, which is the hardwired with power and data at the same time. So in case you really wanted to be limited to one controlling method or source, simply just make sure that you have it to only the app if you want to do the app, guys, just to make sure it doesn't catch any other control method. That's why I think this is very important. Talking about DMX setup, also, let me just try go back here and set this to app. We don't want to control this with wireless DMX just now. Perfect. DMX setup, I just want to go fast over it. We also have another webinar soon, I hope, where we go a lot more into details talking about DMX setup, how everything is connected, and so on. So, going back in here to this one, we can do all the DMX settings from here. It can be that you already hung up the lights. You can, of course, on the Titans, Helios, and all the lights from Astera that has a display on the back, we can, of course, do it in the old traditional way. There is also multiple ways to set the DMX address talking about DMX, but let's just go through the list of connected lights here first. Now we can set up the DMX addresses one by one, and also the DMX profile. We can set up the pixel mode right here, strobe on, off, and so on. Another way to do it is simply mark all the icons here on the left side once again. Magic wand, yeah, I already told you this is one of my favorites. Then we can do the setup again, DMX addresses, profiles, and then we can actually, let's say, choose, we choose the RGB, just a simple one, and auto address. Start address, for instance, number 1. We can push return, and then it will simply list all the lights. When we press send, successfully assigned, perfect, that's what we want. Then we can go back, and then you will see that the DMX address actually changes. So in this case, I can actually set up the DMX addresses on multiple lights at one time, just with this auto address function. Again, the sort and filter, if you want the DMX address 1 to start at the top and come in one long nice row, sort and filter by DMX address, and just like that. Because now we can start to highlight, okay, this is with the 1, 4, and so on and so on. The third way to do the DMX address settings right here is the main menu. We can go to actions for all lights, and at the very top we see the DMX configuration. When we push this one, looks a little bit similar to what we already saw before. Here we choose simply the lamp type. Now we have the FP1s, so the Titan tube. For instance, a 16 pixel mode. Down in the DMX address bar, you can also see the DMX address, or how many DMX addresses each one of the lights actually takes. In case we take 15 DMX channels, we can probably take another one here. Now we have 16. Then we can simply scroll down and see which channel the RGB, the dim, and so on is laying on. Then we can push send. Oh, just have to hit it. Yes. now you will realize that the lights actually start flickering. So in case you have them aligned nice and easy next to each other, then we can push the enter button here, for instance. Let me just do like, yeah, exactly there. Flickers a little bit. Then we press the +16, then it goes to the next DMX address, and then we simply just push the enter button right here. Yes, exactly, and then we can press done. So with this DMX setup mode, it's just about +16, enter, +16, enter. So it's more like a ping pong show. Going back right here, you will also see that the lights have changed the DMX addresses. So guys, in case you are a little bit into DMX, maybe working a lot with it, just use whatever is more easy for you. Just have always a lot of ways to do it here in the Astera app. Perfect. This was about DMX setup, so let's just move on right here. Talking about resetting lights, there's actually 4 available ways. We can do it through the display behind the light right here. Simply just find the factory reset and confirm with the enter button. For instance, the AX1 and the Pixel Tube has only a power on off button. This one we will hold down for approximately 5 seconds, then it will light up red to indicate that it has been reset. The second way is through the list of connected lights here in the app. So we can mark again, magic wand, yeah, I like it. Let's just stay with that. Going to here, and we can say reset lights and hit the OK button. So now it will actually just have to do like that. Exactly. Let me just adjust the brightness. You will see it has now turned into red, which also, wait a second. Oh yeah, so like that, and doing like this. Perfect. Then we have a nice color right here. Exactly. Lighting up red, it will actually go back to the default brightness, and it will have the red color to indicate that the reset has been completed. The third way to do it is through the main menu. List of connected lights, main menu. Yeah. Going to the main menu, staying here in actions for all lights, we can press the reset lights on pair CRMX right here. Now the lights will again start flickering. You will also realize it. This can be very helpful if you have multiple cases next to each other or multiple lights. Then we can use the remote control. Simply just hit the power on button, point and press, and then we can actually confirm that they should be reset. You can also push the enter button behind on the Astera lights, and then it will also reset itself. But now you have seen it, we can hit the done button. So guys, just do whatever you feel more comfortable with. The fourth way we will come to just in a few seconds. That will be very interesting. Yes, good. Let me just set the input select here. It catches, as I said, resetting lights. It will go back to the auto input select just like that. Let me just do like this so we have some nice colors to look at as well. Perfect. Another theft alarm which has been there since, I believe, the very beginning, you might know it, is the theft alarm. In case you didn't know, yes, the lights actually have a theft alarm. Let me show you how this works. Going back to the main menu, staying here in actions for all lights, you will see just down below the theft alarm on. When we press this one, we will have multiple options. The first one is actually the siren. Hitting on this one. Yeah, it actually says some sounds, but let's try it out. Maybe you can hear it. Hitting and confirming the OK button, they will flash or blink to actually say, you will also see it here now, shaking a little bit. Theft alarm. Let me just make that off so we can hear what I'm saying. Here we can actually make them say a sound. So guys, it's not to prevent that if the thief really want to steal it, of course he's going to steal it, but it's more like a scary effect or to scare them away. In case you really need it, yeah, you can do a siren just here through the Astera app as well. In case you do have a shaky ground, we also have the sensitivity. It's a little bit hard for me to explain how sensitive or not sensitive it's actually going to be. So simply just try it out yourself to see how sensitive or not sensitive it is. can be that it's necessary for you to have the theft alarm on, and maybe you have a subwoofer, can be a little bit of shaky ground. Simply just adjust it as you want it to. Going down to the permanent and set it to never, for instance, means once we activate it, I take a light and I run with it. It will start beeping and it will start blinking. If I set it down or put it down on the floor afterwards, it will actually stop a few seconds later and continue the same program that was running on it before. However, if we set this to after 2 minutes, so the permanent alarm or the alarm to be permanent after 2 minutes means if I take the light, run with it for more than 2 minutes, the alarm will become permanent. Yeah. With other words, it means that the alarm or the light itself will be totally useless for the thief. What it will be doing is simply just beeping, and it will simply be blinking until it runs out of battery. Let's say if they figure out a way how to charge the light again, then it will simply just start blinking and beeping once again. There is one way to reset it, and that's getting it back here to the Astera system, the Astera app, or the Astera box. So this also is the fourth way to reset the lights and also to get the lights out of the theft alarm mode. Guys, this point is very important that you also know. So keep the tongue straight in your mouth. I hope this will make sense what I'm trying to explain you now. If the theft alarm is on and you do not remember which kind of radio pin you had, then we will come to the third pin, which is the master pin. The master pin is made to reset lights and reset and pair actually in one step. You can change the lights, the names of the lights. So no matter if you use 100 different Astera boxes, 1,000 different tablets or smartphones, the name of these lights, what you have renamed them to, will stay the same. So that can be, for instance, your company name, can be some sort of a code. What do I know? That's totally up to you. This pin is by default 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we do not really promote this because this is very important, this step. In case you do change the master pin, it's very important that you do not forget this pin as well. So yeah, let's try move on and see if we can do something here with this nice little master pin. Good. The first thing we have to do is, of course, set up the master pin. So we can, okay, before I move on, this has to be done light by light, so one by one. When you, for instance, get your lights, can be totally new lights, can be that you already have a lot of lights in stock, then you can do this process one by one. Let's start with the top one here. Now you see on the top, master pin not set, touch to set. Yeah, that we touch, current master pin by default, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My new master pin, just make it easy so I do not forget it. Do not forget this, guys. It's, yeah, I will say it 10,000 times, but it's just important that you do not forget it. I have made my new master pin 111333, and it's also important that you don't give this to your customers or someone you don't like to have the control over the lights. Then just keep the master pin for yourself, just a good advice. Hitting the OK button, you will see after some time the master pin not set, touch to set is actually gone now. That means that this specific master pin is saved in this light. So all the lights, what you have created or renamed or actually set this master pin to, just make sure that all the lights have the same in case you don't want to make it more messy. Now these two lights should have the same master pin. I set the other one some weeks ago to the same actually. Good. So what we can do now is actually going here to the main menu, going to advanced actions, and we can go to master reset lights. So this is actually the way to become it or to get it out of the theft alarm mode. because no matter what, these ones we have given the birth or we have renamed them, so this master pin is saved in these lights. Let me just type this in. You will see the ones with this actual master pin will actually start flicker. So it simply looks like this. In case the radio pin has been changed, can also be that it's in the theft alarm mode. Now we can press the enter button, which is actually right here. We can also use the remote control, power on. Now we have the control over the lights one more time. When you do this, doesn't matter about the radio pin or regarding the radio pin. Once you do this reset, it will actually repair to the current radio pin you have up on top in the app right here. I hope it makes sense, guys. Otherwise, just fire the questions away because I rather want us to be very clear about this. This is a very important feature and also very important thing to be aware about. The other thing is, of course, that we can rename the lights. This has also to be done one by one, like this. So we can actually rename the top one here, the 102. Hit it, hit the little button right there, and then we can say, Jesper's do not touch 1. Type in the master pin 111333, done, and hit the OK button. Now you will see just in a few seconds we have changed the name. So in case it should be stolen or somebody else is using it, this exact name will also be shown in their app, no matter which kind of Astera box they are using, and do not really matter which kind of tablet, can be 1000 different, the name will now stay the same. I believe we just have to go a few steps in front here in the presentation as well, just so we can keep up with all these things what I'm also talking about. So please, can we move a little bit forward? And one more, thank you. And one more, exactly. So the rename lights, the master reset lights is to become them or to get them out of the theft alarm, but also to reset them to the current master pin what you have in your tablet at this very time or this very moment. This is the master pin, guys. Yeah. Case any doubt, just ask. Yeah, perfect. So let us just move on from here. That would be great. Exactly. Now we have been talking about the first tab, which we see down in the bottom here with me. In case you do have an Android device, these will actually be displayed up in the top. But let us just move safely on here to the next one, right next to the list of connected lights. I'm sure most of you have also seen the tile view right here. This has been there since the very beginning. Very easy to create sets, but also to activate and deactivate if you want to change an effect on these exact or specific sets what we have created. In late 2019, we released a new update, actually together with the layer effects, which is the list view of the targets right here. So highlighted just up in the top right now, exactly like that, will bring me to the list view. So this is actually very special, or in case you didn't know it was there, then let me just walk through it real quick. Here on the left side, we can of course still activate, deactivate the sets we want to control. Now we also have the possibility to adjust the brightness on the run. So simply just hit the sun icon. We can move the slider. We can also tap the little box on the left side and simply just type 25, for instance. Let me just do something real quick. We will also be able to see the current effect running on this specific set. The other one can be a little bit hard. Maybe we already have forgotten which kind of effect is running on this specific set. But the list view gives you the possibility simply to see which current effect is already running there. If you have a lot of lights out there on the floor and you are not quite sure which lights was now in this set, then we can hit the bulb here. Of course, no lights are attached at the moment, but then we can highlight them and see which lights are currently in this set. So this is the list view, guys, just in case you were not aware that it was actually there. Good. Going here to the next tab, which is in the middle, this is also the program effect pages, so we can simply just slide back and forth. Let me take the red one and going here to the editor, which is then the tab right next to the program and effect page. Pushing the C1 tab right here will open the color picker. This is not what I want to show you. I'm sure that you have seen this before. This, what I want to show you, is probably a little bit hidden. So now we can, for instance, say, okay, cool, the red one, and now hit the heart with the plus button up on the right side. This will add it to our favorite list of lights, but I want to, for instance, see the RGB values or maybe even edit it or type in a specific RGB value. So now I can hit the pencil right here, will open my editor just like this with the RGB values that you see here on the left side. In case you work a lot with lighting desks or something like this, then this is actually, let's see if we can hit Astera purple fast. This is more like it. Yeah, exactly, something like this. You want to display, for instance, this exact color on your lighting desk. Now you would take these RGB values on the left side, simply just type into your lighting desk, and then you will display the exact same color. This also works vice versa. If you have a production or a customer, which is, you maybe do a lot for this customer wants the logo color displayed on the wall, then we can go to the sRGB and type in the RGB values. So in case you find a RGB value on the laptop, can be on the internet, then this is the place actually to type in the RGB values. Some people also start to work a bit more with X and Y coordinates. Therefore, we have the CIE down in the very bottom. We can press it right here and simply just type in the X and the Y values just as it is. Can be also to display it from a lighting desk or to a lighting desk if you want to do so. Perfect. I like this color, so we can scroll up. I use it often anyways, so we can actually save it here as Astera Purple, name it, and hit the save button just like this. Now I have the list here of my favorite colors, also with a name, and create some sort of a good overview for myself. In case you have some gels you are using often, let me see if, the Congo blue, I like the Congo. Maybe we can see it here on the lights as well. Congo blue. Wait a second. App controlled. Okay. Okay, with a little fade in here. Perfect. Now it is there. If you use the Congo blue, for instance, very often, then simply just hit it, activate it, and hit the heart with the plus button. This will actually add this specific gel on your favorite list by color. So here you can just have a good overview or list your colors which you are using very often. If you want the RGB values from the Congo blue, press it and press the pencil one more time, and then we have the same view as before. Perfect. I hope this makes good sense, guys, and I do believe that this is it. Good. Going back to the program effect page, this is actually something that has been there since the very beginning of the Astera app, but it's just a little bit hidden. Maybe not everyone knows that it's there. That's also why I want to have it in this webinar today. Let us say that we want the rainbow to be running all time, but at some point we want a red color to appear just for a few seconds and then go back to the rainbow effect. Then we can go to the red program effect here, just red, going to the editor, like this, just removing the fade in. Down in the bottom, you have the flash and the latch. Now pressing the flash button right here will activate the release delay. So now we can slide it, or we can double tap the slider, simply just maybe to write 4 seconds, hit the OK button, and maybe hit the save button. Just red name is pretty okay for me. Having the rainbows like that, and now pushing the red like that, and then it will go off one more time, simply just like that. So guys, in case you want something just to appear for a few seconds, want to go back to the other effect, then you would need to do a flash button. Simple and easy, just like this. This can be actually done with pretty much all the effects. Good. Moving on. We also do have the possibility to do a blackout button. In case maybe you have been doing some black colors, but just push it here so it becomes black. We can also push the plus button up in the right corner, like this. Down in the bottom, add a function, just opening that menu tab, and then we can push the blackout right here. Just add it right there. Once we push it, we activate it. Push it again, we deactivate it. So I think this also makes pretty good sense. Scrolling here to the right, and also talking about music control, some people might need it. Music control is only valid with the program effects, what you see with the dancing man inside, exactly. And the microphone is built in the Astera box right here. So this of course has to be close to the speakers, can be, but once we activate this, maybe like that, then this one will catch the sound and also the BPM, so it will simply just react. You will also see down in the bottom here that auto, at the moment, we can also choose to tap this button simply just to do it manually. So in case you didn't know that there was a music control, there is just the effects with the dancing man inside. Good. Let me go to something which is very, very new. I also think this can become very helpful. So, round about 1.5 months ago, we also released or came with a new big update for the Astera app, which included some small things. I will just come to that a bit later. The big thing in this update is actually the scenes. You might know it as cues, can also be. So this is actually the same principle or principle. Yeah, exactly. What the scene does is that you can, in one scene, have multiple or different sets. Simply just predefining the different sets with different effects, and then by pressing the one scene will simply change all the effects just with one click. I just want to show you quickly how this is done. Let's start creating some sets. You can do it with one set. I just want to create some sets here just to make it even more clear. So this can be number 1. And this one we want in the first set, which is intended for the first scene, what we create. Going back and creating it, creating a new set, like that, and having the second one with, which then will be here, renaming this to number 2. Now I have the 2 sets. I'm a little bit limited with space, that's why I only have 2 tubes, but let us start assigning effects to the sets what we just created. So also when we can move one more step forward here, would be nice. Perfect. So we need to assign effects and predefine them before creating the scene. Now number 1, we wanna, for instance, create, let's say something like a running effect. This is intended. Number 2 will now, for instance, be, let's say this one, maybe a bit faster. Exactly, without any fade in, like this. Okay, so we can have it running maybe something like that, exactly. So now we have predefined the effects on the sets we want in our scene, in our cue. Call it whatever you want. As long as you understand what I'm trying to say, then I am pretty happy. Now pressing the plus button, being here on the program effect page, down in the bottom you will see add a scene. So now pressing this one will actually show all the sets we just created or have created all times. At the left side we can choose to activate or to put in the sets we want in this scene. You will also be able to see the effects currently running on the right side. This is what I want. This is just what I have been predefining or assigning to the different sets, which I want to happen whenever I activate this scene. So we can call this, for instance, scene number 1, and then hit the checkmark button right here. Choose the position, which would make sense. You will also see in the current picture that it actually saves the effect just down here in the program picture or the effect picture, what we see right here. To make this make a lot more sense, I will just assign a new one here to the, can be a police effect, maybe like that, exactly. Changing it, and maybe the photographer or paparazzi effect. This is the second scene, what I want to happen whenever I activate this. So now I have changed the effects, going back to the program effect page, pressing the plus button, and add another scene. So these two sets I also choose again because they are intended. You can add 20 sets, guys. It's not just because, or not only 2, you can add 20, 30, doesn't really matter. So depending on your setup, you have very, very good possibilities to create something very unique and something that changes very fast compared or regarding your production. So it's all up to you. Just use your imagination in this case. Now renaming this to the scene number 2 would make sense in any case, and hitting the checkmark button simply just to confirm it, or actually to create it and lay next to the scene 1 and here. So now we have the scene 1 and scene 2. Whenever we activate the scene 1 now, you will realize that the 2 sets instantly changes to the effects I predefined before. Now going back to scene number 2 will instantly change. So you can make 50 scenes with 20 sets inside. It really doesn't matter as long as you get the point of this here with me. I do have limited lights, but I do hope that it makes sense anyways. So guys, going back and forth, this is simply the scenes we see right here. One click, we instantly changes what we have been predefining before. Perfect. This is the scenes feature, guys. Yes. The tubes, what we see here, the Titan tubes, already have a scrambled PWM inside to avoid flicker. So not so much to be worried about here, but in case you do have some other Astera lights, can be some spotlights, something like that, then we also have the possibility to fine tune it if we do have the lights in a camera picture or in the picture. Going here to the main menu, we can go down here to the to the advanced actions, like that, and we can choose the anti-flicker. Now we can change the frames per second, we can change the hertz as well, simply just to fine tune to the camera in case we do have it on stage or we are doing a shoot. What we see down in the bottom is the high-speed PWM. So this is only for the AX5. This will somehow work almost the same as the Titan tube with the scrambled PWM. This we can activate. Just realize or keep in mind that the LEDs will go a bit darker because it needs a little bit more power to be able to run this high-speed PWM on the AX5. Yes. Now you know it's there if you didn't already know. Perfect. So now, for instance, we have created some effects. We have also created a lot of scenes, or maybe you have created a lot more than we have been doing here today. Maybe you're afraid that you drop your tablet, then of course you will lose everything you have created, but we have a solution for that. So going back to the main menu, going to the app settings, and in the middle of everything you will see the backup and restore. When we push this one, sorry, I created a lot the past few weeks. Anyhow, let's press the plus button right here, and we can now call this Tips, Tricks, Astera Webinar, and for instance the date could also be helpful, and hit the OK button to confirm and save the backup file. Now it will be placed down here in the bottom. So once we push this one, we can actually up in the top share it. So in case you want some folder on your PC, your laptop to keep them safe, you can share it to your email and save it on your laptop. If you do have some program effects or some settings what a colleague of yours need, then you can also share your setup or your app setup with him. So you can actually change in between. In case you don't want to lose some of your own and you want to restore another backup, just remember to do a new backup. But here we can share it with whomever we want. We can also, whenever we press the backup file, it will open here, and we can press the backup right here, press the restore. And now we have the possibility to say restore everything. We can also deactivate this one and actually only restore the programs, for instance, targets, and so on and so on. So in case you want to share something, they can simply just restore program effects if that's what they need. Yeah, I hope this also makes sense, but you can share, and you can of course do the backup files if you are afraid that you are gonna lose something what you might need for the future here as well. Perfect. Staying here in the main menu, you will see down in the bottom, manuals. We all know what happens whenever we buy something new. I see a manual, for instance, me personally, I think, I know everything. Of course, I don't know everything, but normally I take it, do like that, and throw it in the trash can. In case you really have the need for some manuals of the Astera lights, having the Astera app, you will always have the manuals here by hand, guys. Keep it in mind. Just here, you have everything you need whenever you want to troubleshoot or find something. Then you have the manuals here in the Astera app as well. Auto updates. I believe that we all want to know if the lights are up to date, because we update the app constantly. For this, of course, if we do bigger updates on the app, then the lights also would need to have the latest firmware sometimes. Going back here to the main menu, going to the app settings, and then up on top you will see lights background update. Here, with all the lights we have paired, we will see if they are up to date, or it will actually also tell us if it's out of date. Luckily, we have 2 lights up to date. In case it would be out of date, it would actually start automatically to update your lights. Once it's done, you can reboot the lights through the app, or you can power the lights off and then on, and then it will install the lights. Will take some seconds, maybe 20 seconds. I don't have an exact number, but roundabout. And then it will reinstall. In case you have a big production and you are afraid that it maybe reboots itself, then simply just have the auto update off and turn it on once you come back to the warehouse, and then it will simply just update in the background. Good. Talking about firmwares for the lights and also app updates and also the versions of the app. In case you didn't see some of the features here today, can be that you have to update the app. Can also be that you have the very old app version. That's why I have this little overview with me here as well. The old app version is called the Astera App Classic. This is not being updated anymore and only works for Android devices. The new version is called the Astera App, and this is the one we are updating constantly and is also working for iOS, so Apple products, and also Android devices, guys. So in case you didn't see some features, simply just check if you have the Astera App Classic, or maybe you have not updated the new Astera app. Just keep it in mind here as long as we go. Perfect. Talking about all this update, firmware, and so on, maybe we also want to check the firmwares for the lights. Which one is the recent one? We can go down here in the bottom in the main menu to the About. Now we see here on top we have the version 11.19. We can go to release notes, and then we can see which kind of things we have fixed. Can be some bugs we have been running into along the way. And we can see here fix some lamps sorted the wrong way. In case we want to see the latest firmware for the lights, simply just scroll down a bit. Here, the version 11.9. Firmware version 5.8.9. Fixed CCT override strobe. Yes. So here you have the fully overview over the updates on the app and also the fixtures, what we are sending out and what has been fixed. Just in case you want to know, you can also see this through the Astera app, of course. Perfect. Guys, I do believe that we have reached the end. So I hope there has been some tips, tricks along the way, and also some things you might didn't know but can be very helpful for you. Hope that. And do we have any questions before we? Perfect. Guys, I hope you are staying safe out there. So thank you for watching. Hope to see you the next time. Stay healthy and stay safe. See you soon out there.